were pretty comfortable on that. So maybe that's something to either, if you're not going to ban it away, you decide to try to pick it early on in the draft. Team Macau China, they do ban the Lucian straight up, and that was banned twice yesterday against Chinese Taipei as well. So is that maybe just a pocket pick coming through for Zhenjia? Potentially something that Team Macau China scared of.
Man's very scary there with the ADC. Now, let's have a look at what's going to be answered here. No Vi. Team Chinese Taipei don't want a bar of that. So, of course, just to start on the red side, they are going to be at least able to try and control the veto. No Zeri. You can see it's probably just going to be some heavy ADC bandage coming through from Team Macau China because they don't want to have to deal with Wacko down that bot lane. At least not on something that is too strong. Obviously, you can only invest so many bans towards that ADC role.
Yeah, and that's what was sort of interesting about the ban strategy from Team Macau China yesterday, was that they were actually prioritizing bot lane bans as well.
Yeah.
But it was the bot lane that seemed to struggle the most, and I wonder if is it just a case of, okay, they've identified that there is a weakness in the bot lane for their team, so they're trying to help them out with the bans. Is that the right way to go about it? Because, I mean, they lost the bot lane twice anyway, so maybe you're better off just trying to prioritize your other laners and get them an advantage and kind of leave the bot lane to the wolves, so to speak.
Well, looks like there's going to be no Nico, no Maokai, and what's going to be this final ban to come through before we get into the pick phase. Looks like there's going to be no Cassante coming through in this game today. So, what is going to be locked in first? Of course, that blue side start for Team Macau China means they do get that first selection. They will, however, of course, potentially get counted right towards the end. You've probably seen that counter saved for your likes of Maple or Wacko. So we'll see what gets locked in. But it is going to be that Milio. It was open, and Team Macau China are happy to take that and send it to the bot lane.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I haven't really seen like a fairly standard bot lane combo actually from Team Macau China just yet. They played Xayah Braum and then they played Ezreal Nami yesterday. And I mean, obviously Ezreal Nami is like a bit of a weird one, and that was really as a result of kind of trying to counterpick a little bit. Whereas the Xayah Braum, you know, again, I don't think that that's necessarily super standard here. So maybe we get like a Jinx Milio coming out in response to this Aphelios Yuumi. But Aphelios Yuumi, again, you're sort of giving Wacko the Aphelios, the comfort selection. That's 3 out of 3 Aphelios games so far here at Road to Asian Games 2022, and pair that with a Yuumi, which we haven't actually seen so far, but is obviously a big talking point in the meta at the moment. That's a very scary looking bot lane straight up there from Chinese Taipei, and honestly, mate, they haven't even given away anything. Like, they haven't shown their hand just yet, which makes it really difficult for Macau China to kind of draft here, and it does end up being that Jinx, so Jinx Milio up against Aphelios Yuumi. Yeah, well, very, very standard stuff straight off the bat.
I think, look, Rusty and Magical backstage are going to be extremely happy that they're not casting this game because of Yuumi slid it through, and they are the designated Yuumi hater club here in the vicinity. So let's see what the Yuumi's going to be able to do on the back of that Aphelios. Probably going to be some crazy hyper carry business going on towards that bot lane, and that's exactly what you're going to see with that Jinx pick too. Now, the Jinx duo with the Milio has gone, you know, sometimes well, sometimes poorly, but of course you've got to keep in the back of your head that with the Milio there for Team Macau China, that means they are going to have the cleanse. So we'll see which angle Team Chinese Taipei go for here. They haven't picked any real lockdown so far. Of course, you've got the roots there with the Yuumi ults, and then there is some form of CC throughout Aphelios's, you know, different weapons that he brings in. Ari going to be locked in the meantime, and we're going to see Sion going up top for Team Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, I mean, this is about as standard as you're going to get, and it's probably the most standard draft that we've actually seen so far. Yeah. I mean, obviously that can change, and I think yesterday we're kind of looking toward some standard drafts, and then, you know, a couple of curveballs got thrown in for the 4th and 5th pick on each respective team. But so far, this is pretty much, you could write your ideal team compositions down on a piece of paper, and you might get something like this. You know, it is interesting that we see the mid pick early for Team Macau China, wanting to save the counter pick for the jungle and for the top lane. I'm not so sure that you're really going to be able to find a great counter pick in for Sion here. especially given that Gwen has been banned away. Wukong's not a bad ban either from Chinese Taipei. I like that one. It was a choice for NH yesterday, so you've actually banned out both of his champions that we saw him play yesterday, which was the Macau and the Wukong. So I wonder what is going to be the option of choice here for NH. Does he have something else up the back pocket? Vi's also out of the picture, so a lot of junglers being taken away right here. And if you now, as Chinese Taipei, were to pick a jungler, I mean, what other options are you going to start to go to? You're really starting to limit the supply for NH. Have opted for the Azir instead.
Yeah, we'll see how Maple goes on that one. Purdy's pretty solid on it, so we'll see how that statement evolves. But, of course, moving over to Team Macau China's pick now. What are we going to see the answer? Viego going to be picked up for NH. And let's see what Sea Lion's going for to take it up top.
Yeah, that's another interesting little question mark, isn't it? Ornn. So we're just going to have two big, beefy top laners.
Beefy boys whacking each other. A bit of CC later on. Maple. Yazir is going to be going up against an interesting affair. What was the counterpick? Counterpick was the Poppy. So that's what we're getting for Junja.
Poppy in the jungle.
Yeah.
Don't mind that. Obviously,
Very tanky comp.
very annoying for the likes of the Viego, the likes of the Ornn, the Ari in particular as well. Really going to struggle against that Poppy. So
just disengage him out of there. Give him a big old whack with the hammer.
I mean, the way I look at this composition is like we're really going to be playing around this bot lane. We're really going to be playing around Wacko and hoping that the bot lane is going to be quite strong, and then you have the beefiest of beefy front lines to stand behind, plus an Azir, so Empress Divide as well. Really, really good peel. Obviously, Yumi's going to be in there as well, being a big asset for Wacko on that Aphelios. And look, as long as this bot lane is even or even a bit ahead actually for Chinese Taipei, I can see this going really, really well for them. So I don't think it's a bad draft strategy, especially considering the fact that Team Macau China, we did say we sort of identified the weakness down there in the bot lane for them yesterday as well.
Well, let's see if there's going to be any weakness. It's loading on into the Rift now. Toei going up against Aja is going to be a very lackluster affair towards the top side, so we're certainly going to see that focus back towards the bot lane. Probably going to see that jungle path going down there real early on to gank or counter gank, or at least stop too much action from going down. In terms of sustain for that bot lane, which one are you leaning towards? Do you think that Team Macau China, at least with that extra healing coming through with Emilio, should be able to stay in lane for a little bit longer, or do you think that Yumi's inherent abilities as well will keep them?
I think, to be honest, it's much of a muchness. Neither of these are like super, I mean, you're not talking like Soraka or something like that. They're not like super heal oriented. Obviously, Emilio and Yumi do both have heals in their kit, but when it comes to Yumi in particular, you don't really want to be using that heal too often in the lane. She's kind of a mana-gated champion, so if you're taking a lot of poke and you're forced to heal a lot, that takes away from your ability to actually have an impact on the lane, because at that point, all you do is become a heal bot, and not a great one at that either. Like, obviously, it's beneficial, but it's not going to be putting any pressure back on the Team Macau China bot lane, so you want to be kind of avoiding having to use that heal as much as possible so you can use the Q instead.
Okay, well, let's see what's going down here for the level 1. Doesn't look like there is too many silly buggers at the moment. Oh, and it looks like we're going to have the first pause in the game of the tournament. So something's gone wrong. And I believe we are just going to be chilling out for a moment until the game's going to get sorted and all ready again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a little bit more time then to talk through the draft. I think there's not really a whole lot more to sort of say that we haven't already said. It definitely looks like both teams are quite happy to just play towards that front to back. You do have a little bit more presence maybe in terms of the jungle there for Team Macau China, just in terms of the damage and the snowball ability that Viego is going to be able to bring to the table. So if things do start going kind of well for Team Macau China, I can see that Viego starting to be a little bit of a scarier prospect maybe than Poppy is. I think Poppy tends to be a little bit more of like a utility kind of tank-oriented jungler rather than obviously a carry jungler. So, two different sort of schools of thought. That said, I mean, you do have this sort of change up in mid there as well, with Azir being towards the late game quite a hyper carry in himself when he really starts to get going, whereas Ari will just be a little bit more utility focused, a little bit more presence coming through with the charms and trying to be a little bit more of an assassin and a pest on the outskirts of the fight rather than just like bashing you in the face with a bunch of sand soldiers.
And again, it feels like one of these comps where there might not be a super large value for that cleanse from Milio, of course. If you're picking up Milio, you're picking him up pretty early. And you can see Team Chinese Taipei were ready for that. So a lot of their kit is like knockbacks or disengage oriented. So we'll see if that's just going to be able to, you know, have huge impact during the team fights.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that's going to be such a big deal. I think obviously Milio, you know, he does add a lot more value than just that cleanse. If you have had a look at his kit, obviously he's got you know, a lot of crowd control. He's got a little bit of healing. He's got a little bit of shielding. He can kind of do it all. It kind of feels like. So you're still going to get a lot of value out of that, the Milio, I think. And in the team fights, that cleanse, that AOE cleanse, is still going to be quite valuable. Even though, you know, maybe there aren't so many stuns or anything like that on the other side of the field.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that there just might be, you know, some tech issues going down right now. So it's just getting investigated before we keep running into the game. You know, make sure that the playing field is nice and even, nice and friendly, nice and respectful.
Might have to check in with the referees, Mac, and see what signal they're going to give us.
See what's going on after the investigation, of course. So that'll happen shortly. But for now as well, out of the top two tanks, which is your favorite to watch? I feel like Sion.
Neither.
Neither?
Quite honestly.
Out of both of those.
Quite honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the top lane. I think of any lane, it's probably my least favorite lane to play and to watch. I also think that, you know, it's not a lane that's really conducive to anything exciting going on, particularly when it's going to be an Ornn versus Sion matchup, mate. This is going to be an absolute wet noodle fight. There's nothing going on in the top lane, I can tell you that for free.
Yeah.
We're going to see lots going on in mid and bot, I would say, but in top lane, I'd be very surprised. You know, actually, I would not be super surprised if we got to the point where, like, either one of these players, maybe the Sion, Artsy, just gets through it with like 0-0-0. Because that's what you sometimes see from Sions. They just sit there top, they just farm, they just push that wave in and do what they need to do.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like we saw a lot of good, fun times with the Sions yesterday where they were happy just to go for that, you know, the int strat. You just go a little bit too hard. You got that zombie form. You know, it's going to be all right. You can get back to lane real quick with your ult anyway. It's all fine. It's all dandy.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully things are going to get sorted out here pretty shortly. Get into game. Obviously, this is a big day, not just for us, Mac, but also for the players. I think you've got to keep in mind, if you're a team that's going to be playing later on tonight, right? Bear in mind there's 5 best of 3s today. We're into our third one, and it is now 6:30 local time.
Is it?
So, is it 6:30 or is it 4:30?
That's 6:30 Australia time.
6:30 Australia time.
It's 4:30 local.
4:30 local time. But either way, right? We're going to expect that this series will probably take another couple of hours to finish off. So we'll get to 6:30.
Yeah.
Next series starting around then. You can get into a situation where this could be quite a late night for some of those teams at the back end. If one or two of these next couple of series goes to 3 maps, which luckily for the schedule, we actually haven't had any 3 mappers so far. That could be something. And you're also having to go through the entire day with all this sort of pent up emotion, waiting to play. You know, you've got the nerves and the anticipation and the anxiety until you actually get on stage and start to play. And every minute now where we're sort of waiting through a tech pause, or, you know, if we were going to a map 3 or something like that, every extra minute that's added on to the clock is just another minute that you're in your own head. Maybe, I don't know, sitting in your hotel room, sitting in your crack room, wondering how the game's going to go today.
Just trying to figure out how much prep you need to put in, how much more you need to do to try to get the results that you're looking for, and if that's even going to be enough, because experience, of course, goes a long way. So you have to make every moment count, especially when you're up on a stage in front of a crowd like today. Also, speaking of, the crowd in front of the stage is fully packed out as well, especially, you know, going towards these games. For the opening ceremony earlier, everyone was there, everyone was enjoying themselves. And I feel like, from what I've heard, there's been a lot of cheering going on over there as well. So, you know, it's nice to see that everyone's having fun watching this one, and it looks like we've got good news. We are continuing on with this one. The restarts coming through, handshakes all around, and in come the minions over towards mid.
Yeah, so going to be quite the interesting start for this one. Both junglers up on the top side like we expected, Mac. We're probably not really looking to see too much happening up in the top lane.
Yeah.
It's going to be that wet noodle fight between Tui and Atzi. And the junglers, more than likely, you'd say, are going to head down toward the bottom side of the map. Try to get some work done there, or in mid. Nice if you could maybe take advantage of the early gank as Junjia onto Faith before he hits level 6. Spirit Rush obviously makes the Ahri quite difficult to gank after 6. And Maple getting a pretty good advantage early on in the piece.
Yeah, nice little poke that wasn't answered by anything. Skill shot's going to be missed, unfortunately, for Faith there. And down towards the bot lane. No level 2 pops just yet. They are going to try to play for it. We are going to see Team Macau trying to hit it first, but it looks like they are just taking the lane presence instead. NH going to start to rotate down after the clear at the top side. And both junglers, of course, going top to bot. So looking to make something happen there. Okay, Junja going to try and beat him for the red buff. Might be able to lurk inside. Will be able to ward that one up. And now he's going to try to cheat the timings. Knows exactly what NH is doing and is going to be able to get this flank angle because the lane is fully pushed up now. Junja spotted.
Flash.
Beautiful flash there from Sea Lion. The root going to be cleansed. And everything's okay. At least they baited out some sums.
Either way, Mac, I mean, that's a very successful gank when you think about it. Sure, they don't get the kill, but they force out the heal, the flash, and the cleanse from the bot lane of Team Macau China, who was already struggling in that matchup, to be fair, and now they're just put back another step. The Jinx having to reset. Sea Lion will buy himself a longsword, but there's not much of a prize. And this is the second time now that I've watched Team Macau China start topside on their jungle with NH, and then he gets invaded in a sense. Previous time it was against Team China, he got invaded at the red buff and died. In this case, he gets not invaded per se, but he allows someone into his jungle who then gets him behind his bot lane.
You know, the vision was enough of an invade to give that info, to stop that rotation up, or at least know when that rotation up was coming from NH and not overstay for Team Chinese Taipei. So yeah, as you mentioned, already a huge win for them in terms of the sums. And off the back of that, you know, it's still just going to be this full clear as well as the scuttle, at least on the bot side, for Junja.
Yeah, Zoe falling quite far behind in terms of the farm at the moment is going to be a real problem. It's not just Zoe, though. It's the bot lane as well. So 2 lanes already really struggling at the moment, and it looks like Team Chinese Taipei might be setting themselves up a dive. Information is there for Team Macau China, but Junjia is just not going to slow down at all. Straight in onto Sea Lion, forcing them back further and further, and this will be the first plate going the way of Team Chinese Taipei, and then potentially even more after that. Wacko is going to be looking for those stuns, has Gravitum available, but ends up backing off, and Team Macau China giving Team Chinese Taipei a lot of respect, which is fair enough, but every moment that you're doing this, you're losing so much in that creep wave. There is a massive wave stacked up that you're not farming, and you've gone now down 2 turret plates already. This is not a very fun start at all for Team Macau China. The macro play from Team Chinese Taipei is just getting the better of them in every way.
Just so much respect coming out from Team Macau China there. It's been an interesting time for them down in the bot lane, but they just weren't allowed near their tower at all. They knew that Team Chinese Taipei were just too strong, especially with that 3-on-2. And NH, he's just trying to farm up and get to 6 as early as possible, it seems. Just trying to go for these full clears, trying to set it up, and pass bot yet again, just to try and help him out. He was just a little too slow in the early game, and now as we reach the 6-minute mark, you could see that Faith really wanted to get aggressive and try to stop that back, but I think he found some extra bits of info coming through with that rotation from Junja.
It's going to be a 3rd tower plate in just a second here from Chinese Taipei.
Yeah.
They are so strong down here in bot.
That's gone. Just pummeling it.
One more auto
they got the minions. Oh,
no, not quite. I thought that last minion auto would get the job done, but
must be 1 point of health in that left.
Yeah. By the way, Maple, Emperor's Divide.
Yep. Dropping that level 6 instantly. Faith, hoping to survive, is going to be able to get the charm. A couple of tower shots coming through, is still trying to have some kind of impact. Junja so tanky already and is just barely going to be tickled at all. So Team Macau China, they will fend them away from the turret. Sea Lion living for the moment. How? He's not going to be able to get any damage back onto Wacko, who is just funneling all that damage. Again, the wave clear is just too strong. And it feels like that there's just no answer for Team Macau China right now. They just can't hit back.
Yeah, Woody did actually use the heal in that engagement, so maybe a little bit of miscommunication between the bot laners there. Perhaps Woody expecting that Wacko would try to dive that. The heal's super unnecessary.
Very safe ward coming through here over towards the bush near the Krugs there. And they know that Junja's hanging around, so there's a lot of respect being shown, and this tower does not have long left to live.
Yeah, I mean, this is about a big of a bot gap as you're going to see. It was really tough yesterday for the Team Macau China bot laners when they were playing against Team China, but it was for different reasons, man.
Yeah.
They just kept getting farmed. They were getting killed over and over and over. In this case, this is like, what's the word? This is just clean League of Legends. This is standard clean stuff, and Chinese Taipei are doing it better, right? They're just playing with the macro game. They're forcing Team Macau China out of position. They're slowly but surely making them weaker and weaker because they're missing XP, they're missing gold. They're not killing them, but the result ends up being the same as Chinese Taipei slowly but surely gain advantage after advantage, and those advantages continue to snowball on top of one another.
Red, white don't fight. They see that, and they turn right around and look to head back to bot lane. Pow trying to go for a little snipe shot, but that's not going to come through at all. And it's the first Drake in the bag for Team Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, it is. And you can see, I mean, 20 to 30 CS gap in the bot lane. At least up in the top lane, things have somewhat equalized. So he's been able to do a good job of that. Already
A pretty large canyon, considering how early we are in the game. How going to have to invest the flash to get away from Junja there. He's going to be able to steal that red buff. And again, this tower looks like it's got a target right in the middle of it.
Oh, it's got a dive.
Oh, full dive, you reckon? Okay.
I mean, there's no flash. Ho does not have flash. He can't get out of here.
There it is. Hints are onto the wall, and Junja with that charge is more than enough to take Hao out of the equation, and it's the tower to follow. There's no chance Sea Lion's going to be able to go toe-to-toe here. Man is 30 CS in the deficit.
And I like what Wacko's doing here as well. A lot of the time you'll just see the ADC finishing off the tower, but he is really putting that pain onto Team Macau China as much as possible. He's letting that tower kill as many creeps as he can before it goes down. And this is just continuing to compound the losses for Team Macau China. This is, you know, a recipe for success. If you're watching this game, if you're a bot laner, you can just think about this and
take notes.
Take notes because
take as many as you can.
This is exactly how you can play the game out and literally not even do anything and just win and become such a dominant bot lane. They're up 40 CS and they haven't killed him. They haven't really done much. I mean, yeah, they killed the Melio at one point, but like the reality is the vast majority of this lane has just been won and lost by wave control.
Yeah. And then when they do fight, they don't overextend. They, you know, take that turret aggro, fall away, happy with the small victories in terms of looking at the resources that are not left there for Team Macau China to fight back. So they're just able to have that lane prio, able to just pump down those plates. And again, that bot T1 is falling real early on. Maple as well, already starting to still try and find a gap. We are going to see the reset come through from Faith now, who's going to try to get back and stop another plate from being taken. And after that bot T1 goes, you see Wacko saying, I want plates up top instead, so they're just going to swap lanes.
I think that's fair enough. Just continue to put resources into this ADC. Wacko's already got that Kraken Slayer finished off as well. He hasn't even finished the Cull. He hasn't finished the Cull, Mac, and he finished his first item. That's just ridiculous.
Insane. Absolutely insane. But that's what happens when you get 5 plates, and he's looking to find even more here. Hard shoving top. It's Toei's going to try to make his way back up here, but I don't know if he's going to be able to stop one of these plates falling. Look at him just at the T2 right now. And that might be solo gold if Woody stays far away enough, down towards the top, bot side rather. We're going to see the charm come through. Azure, of course, is a little too strong, a little too tanky, so even with the stun, that's not gone too well. At least the Herald might start to shift some of that money back in the favor of Team Macau China. We're going to see Emperor's Divide now. Maple just trying to force him right back, and again, they've just targeted the support once more. Sea Lion now all on his own, and he can't afford to die there. He needs to play it safely. He needs to try and play around the tower. There's 2 more plates for Wacko, and they're going to keep on fighting. Teleport going to be invested towards that top side. They've been unleashed now. Faith as well. Ooh, not going to get fully rooted up, but he will have the tower to play around. They're diving. They are staying here. They are looking for more, and it wasn't even needed.
This game is so over, Mac.
It's 11 minutes.
We're 4 kills in, but I can tell you this game is so over. Team Chinese Taipei, they are just better. 105 CS for Wacko. He's literally tower diving the enemy Ornn.
Oh my lord.
It's just unreasonable.
Look at these plates melting.
Yeah, I mean, how much money has this guy got right now? It's insane.
Probably another item, or almost. At least a couple of components just in the bank there.
59%! Hello?
There's always a world, Jordan. There's a 41% chance.
I'm going to give Team Macau China 1% here, Mac. All right? I'm going to give them 1%. They're down 7k gold.
Yes, 12 minutes in. That is a present for the bonus if I've ever seen it.
This is illegal. You should never be allowed to get away with this like 10 minutes into the game. You're diving the enemy top laner. There's a mid lane TP coming through. Wacko does not even care. Yumi's there to help him out, of course.
Look at the shielding. He's taken no damage to his health at all. He's just living. He's just tanking it, going out and into the tower aggro perfectly. Yumi taking some of it as well. That was just perfectly orchestrated.
That's what I'm saying, man. It is just so over at this point. They don't have to use the flash. They don't need to use the cleanse. They didn't use the heal. They didn't use anything.
They just hit him. They just hit him hard.
Been hit in the face with the charm there, but Emperor's Divide straight again into the stun from the Poppy. And you can see why that combination has been put together. It's just a little bit too good.
That's the wombo combo if I've ever seen one.
The wall, the Emperor's Divide acts as the wall. And the Poppy can just charge you straight into that one. So not only is the Emperor's Divide going to push you out of position, you're going to get stuck there as well.
Insane champ synergy coming through, as well as team coordination just to back it up. Now, how much more value can Team Chinese Taipei find here? He's just going to be walking into this one, happy to go straight into the base of Aja, who is tanky as hell. NH, he's running away. Decides that was a bad idea. I will not be taking this Scuttle Crab this time. And Junja probably going to be completely uncontested here over towards the Drake.
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't think anyone's allowed out of the base right now for Team Macau China. 13 minutes. Gold lead grows out to...
Out of the base.
Just over 7k.
There's still plates. There's still 5 seconds of plates.
They should just walk in and get that on, I reckon. If I'm Wacko, maximum disrespect.
He's doing it. 1 second. Nah, he doesn't get it this time, but he's had enough, and we're going to see that Ornn Horn called, but is it going to be enough for anything? Stowy barely living, and these blue health bars are just melting. Look at this as well. Great use of the Scion there. Aja just taking full control of full turret aggro as Wacko just keeps on whacking.
Yeah, he does indeed. Bot lane tower goes down as well. This is FF15 if you're in a ranked game, but we're not. And so Maple, we'll see what he can do dancing around his own tower.
Yeah.
Junja is there to help out as well. Maple goes relatively low, about as close as we've seen from Team Macau China to finding themselves a kill. Junja, have you overcommitted? Not quite. Flashes back out. Everyone's safe. Wacko's here though, and that means Team Macau China is not safe.
Yeah, Team Macau China probably can't fight this, and that's exactly why Red White don't fight, my friends, but they're going to try it anyway, and look how pummeled they just got. That might just be the base starting to be lost now. Junja as well. Instead of backing, instead of healing up, he was so confident he's just going to keep on pillaging the jungle instead, taking that red buff away, probably going to get the Raptors, and there is going to be absolutely nothing for Team Macau China to farm. There is no chance for them to get back into the game.
Well, Gale Force picked up here as well for Wacko. So, it just goes from bad to worse, right? If you weren't able to escape this Aphelios, which, let's be real, most of Team Macau China are unable to do. Now he's got a Gale Force. You're not going to be able to catch, you're not going to be able to get away from him. You're certainly not going to be able to catch him.
Oh my. Look at that damage. There's just... Team Macau China just can't walk up to Team Chinese Taipei. They just can't come within range of anything. Wacko again still with that red and white weapon combination is just so goddamn deadly. Oh my. T2 mid about to fall. Bit of pressure over towards that top one as well. And Azzy is happy just to keep on doing out this damage, or at least drawing attention to allow Wacko to keep on smashing these objectives.
By the way, what did I say about that top lane? I said there's a pretty good chance the Scion ends this game 0-0-0. Right now, he's 0-0-0. I mean, look, granted, there's probably going to be one more fight here for him to have a chance to make some inroads.
Dancing Herald, not going to happen. Not yet. And there's not going to be another opportunity. I feel like if they really wanted, Team Chinese Taipei probably could have gone in with that one if they were all grouped up, but positionally, they don't want to make any mistakes here. They're happy just to keep on playing the long game, playing the strong game, and getting a W out here as fast as possible.
Yeah, looks like it.
They had an 18-minute game yesterday?
I don't know. You're the one that casted that one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think we had a couple of very short games in that series yesterday.
Well, we did have at least one very short game in our series as well, which was the perfect game from Team China. I think that was sub 20 minutes as well.
So, look, Team Macau China, it wouldn't be the first game they've lost this quickly.
Yes. But, straight back to the bot lane here for RG. So, there is that possibility we end with a 0-0-0 Scion. If the mid-push just goes as cleanly as you'd probably expect it to here for Chinese Taipei, they might just finish it with 4. He does have TP to get there, though. I reckon he might snake an assist or two at some point. Doing what all good top laners do. Just playing the side lane. Double pink ward. Mate, there's double pink ward and a sweeper going on in that bush right now. Wacko is not going to be seen by anybody. And here we go as the siege starts to begin. I mean, this is kind of your last-ditch attempt for Team Macau China. They need to fight now. It's not going to work very well for them, of course.
Okay, Horn not going to have the impact. Good stun on Azzy there. But at the same time, so he's down, and this is the blue health bars disappearing, as is the team. See you later, Team Macau China, and see you later, game. This is probably going to be the end angle. Plenty of minions, plenty of super minions as well, all pushing straight on in. And this Nexus is not going to last too long here, Jordan.
Yes, indeed. Well, Archie did manage to actually get some kill participation, but it was only in the literal final fight, and it wasn't quite the perfect game for Team Chinese Taipei, because he was also the only player to go down for their team. Can you believe that? He had one fight's worth of participation. He's